Let's take a look at some of the benefits you can get from implementing a technology that is designed to address the needs of Industry 4.0. One of the first benefits that gigabit Ethernet can offer you is tremendously increased bandwidth, which means that now you have the opportunity to mix different kinds of traffic together on the same network without any loss of performance. So say for example you have a situation in your process where you have your normal control data occurring as part of the normal operation, but then perhaps you have a sudden spike in alarm traffic or something similar. Having gigabit Ethernet, you now have a sufficient bandwidth available that means you can handle all these different types of traffic together at the same time without sacrificing any loss of performance. Another benefit that you can have is that in the past it was often necessary to have multiple different network types on a system depending on what functions you were trying to cover. When you have gigabit Ethernet, you now have the necessary bandwidth available to combine all these different function types together on the same network. So this offers tremendous total cost of ownership benefits because now you have a simplified system, simplified maintenance, simplified design costs, and so on. A further benefit is performance across the whole hierarchy. In the past, maybe you had a factory floor with gigabit Ethernet connections between the factory floor and the IT systems. But now you have the possibility to maintain that gigabit performance throughout the whole manufacturing hierarchy. So for example, now you can have manufacturing cells where you have the field devices within the cell can communicate with the controllers at gigabit speeds. The controllers between different manufacturing cells can also communicate with each other at gigabit speeds, and then finally the links from the shop floor to the IT systems themselves can operate at the same speed as well. So you have the same performance across the hierarchy and there's no longer any bottlenecks occurring anywhere in the system. Another benefit you can achieve is simplified infrastructure. You can connect devices and systems together in some cases without even needing to use network switches. For example, if you're using a simple ring configuration or a line configuration, this means that you can just use simple daisy chain connections from one device to the next, and it's no longer necessary to use network switches. This means that the level of skills required to configure and design the system is reduced, the cost of implementing the system is reduced, and in general, the overall situation is more positive. This also means that it's much easier to configure the network to the needs of the application rather than the other way around. Clearly, with Industry 4.0 applications, cybersecurity is a clear concern. And one way you can address this is to make sure you're working with an organization that maybe, while offering open technology, also maintains control over the access to that technology. Something that leads on from that is making sure that you have freedom of choice. Today, it's generally acknowledged that any network that's being used in manufacturing is going to be open. So you need to make sure that you have sufficient freedom of choice so that the necessary devices and function types you need are available from a variety of different vendors so that you have this freedom of choice and you're not locked into a single vendor. But at the same time, this is a double-edged sword. As well as having this openness, you also need to make sure that devices from different vendors will function together and there will be no compatibility issues. So it's important to know that the technology you're using follows all the necessary industry standards that will guarantee that, and that there is a conformance test process in place that will actually provide those assurances. As much as we'd like to believe that one technology can solve all our problems, the real situation is that in different places and different parts of the world, different technologies are in use. So it's also important to have the necessary interoperability with different network types. This means that maybe you're working with suppliers in different parts of the world, or you're working with industries where there's different standards. But the idea is if there's sufficient interoperability available in the technology you're using with other technologies, then these challenges can be addressed without too much difficulty. We hope you found this video informative. For more information, please visit our website.